live now, sister.
You're a mess.
I am.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of TV Tuesday. We're actually on a Tuesday. One time,
We're always on a Tuesday on TV Tuesday.
Well, I feel like one time we didn't even do it on TV Tuesday.
There have been times we didn't do it at all, but we've never done TV Tuesday on a different day.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Well, it's Tuesday. In case you've lost track in your Corona coma, it's Tuesday. All right. Welcome to this week's show of TV Tuesday. Make sure you check out our website. Look, HollywoodMatrimony.com. Thank you for watching us right now exclusively on YouTube. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and the Twitter. I don't know if there's another media we need to be on, but that's what I know. I don't even know how Twitter works. All I do is follow the cowboy at the museum. Hashtag the cowboy. Hashtag the cowboy.
The only thing I do on Twitter is just, I have two separate Twitter accounts. I have my personal.
Do you have the
and then I have our class
nasty one? Oh, I was like, you better not having a nasty one.
No, but I should. I might have to make some money. But no,
wow.
I have my personal one, and then I have our Hollywood Matrimony one. The only thing I do with my personal is share the Hollywood Matrimony stuff.
Yeah.
So
I don't even know how it works, y'all. Honestly.
But now I'm going to start a nasty one just because you said
you know, there's people out there that they pretend to be something, then they got a nasty sites and stuff. I just know. I know people. Girls.
Anyway. So,
all right.
We got all kinds of things to talk about today. What are we talking about today?
This dumb guy. This is just so dumb. Anyways, we are going to talk about shows. First of all, I want to talk about the finale of Hawaii Five-0.
Which I have not seen.
You didn't even see this last season.
I don't think I have. I'm behind. I need to go back and watch it.
I was just
I know crying. A lot of what happens in the final.
I was crying like a baby. I'm like... And it's interesting to me, even though you didn't watch it, I won't spoil anything. But
see that you don't, because we don't do that.
I like that they took the time to wrap up a couple of long-term things, some people that have been in and out throughout the season, some storylines that you were like, you thought it was resolved, but it was always kind of lingering in the background. And I think we resolved some issues. But it's just really sad to me. And I don't know why we can't just go on without some people. Like, what if some of the people leave and we just start over?
Well, the guy who plays McGarrett had already announced he was going to leave the show.
Yeah. And then his contract was up, right?
Well,
is what it sounded like.
Well, I think he was ready to move on. I think his contract was up, but he was ready to move on. But I don't know if that's why they ended it. I don't think the ratings have been super strong over the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. But I think they've been just strong enough to keep it going. I think they found after they lost the other cast members, I think that put a little bit of black mark on the show briefly.
Yeah.
Like the new people that came in were fine.
Yeah.
And they weren't the other ones that I liked better.
Yeah, me either. I mean, but I did like.
They did some good stories with the new ones.
And then I read an interview like his contract essentially was up and he wasn't really going to renew. But I also was reading like he had suffered a couple of injuries early on.
Well, he did almost all of his own stuff himself.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, that was probably not a smart idea. So for the past few years, he's been having to just work with continual like pain.
Yeah, well, I read an article that there was actually a discussion of either doing a spinoff or just continuing the show with Dano.
Yeah.
And a new partner.
Yeah, and they kind of.
But I think that kind of
set it up a little bit that way. Like they introduced someone.
Yeah, and who knows if they might end up doing the Dano spinoff, you know. But I think the problem is it might have turned into kind of like what Lethal Weapon did. It was when they lost the whole controversy behind the scenes, and with Clayne Crawford got fired with all of the drama on set and his butting heads with Damon Wayans. You know, they brought in Sean William Scott. And I was against it at first because the show was great, but then how do you have Lethal Weapon without Martin and Riggs?
Yeah.
But they brought in Sean William Scott not to play Riggs, but play a new character. And Riggs, they killed him off. Spoiler, but the show's been canceled, so get over it. But he was really good in the show. It still worked okay. But then Damon Wayans talked about not coming back, and you're like, how's the show going to even continue now that you don't have either commitment?
Yeah.
So, but I don't think the Raiders were strong enough, so it ended. It only did like 3 seasons.
On this one, my only hope is that we had a couple earlier in the season. We had a couple of crossover episodes with Magnum PI, so maybe that could be where some of these people go.
Oh, I'm sure they'll pop.
You know, there's been some reoccurring like
because they've had a few crosses between NCIS and. I think that's who it was. Was it NCIS that crossed over?
Maybe.
I think so, with LL Cool J and Chris O'Donnell.
I think so.
They came on Hawaii Five-0 episode.
I think once.
Yeah, and then there's been some other characters that popped in from some of those shows. What are you doing?
I've got something on my face right here.
Yeah, it's your hand. Stop picking at your face. You probably got a zit or something, a dirty.
Well, and then, yeah, so Magnum PI might be the saving grace. Who knows? I mean, or we just get another Hawaii 6-0. I know. Hawaii Cops.
Look, it was already a big swing to try to remake Hawaii 5-0.
Well, and the fact that it lasted so long, I think, is really
and
good.
The fact that it was a sequel more than it was a remake.
It was totally a sequel.
You know, they didn't. It was kind of promoted as a remake, and then you find out that he was supposed to be related to the other McGarrett. And they start bringing in characters from the original show periodically. You know, you had the one police officer that was in the original show that was in the same show.
Yeah, such a sweet little
I hope he got a good pension because he's been an officer for a long time.
I mean, for sure. He needs to retire.
So,
anyways, great show. If you've never watched Hawaii 5-0, first of all, you should watch the original because it was really good, and I like that dude's hair, and I think that's where my dad got his hair inspiration.
I'm sure he did.
What was that guy's name?
I don't remember.
But we watched that show
Hawaii
all the time.
the new one, is super action heavy.
Jack Lord
with
the hair. But yeah, the new one's really good. If you've not seen it, you should go watch it. It's actually really interesting. I think it would hold up okay because it's not old. So anyways, Hawaii 5-0, crying through the whole last episode. It was good. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to talk about something that's just came out on Blu-ray. It's already been out on DVD for a long time. It's an older series. And I'm talking about Police Squad in color. So the show.
I'm going to go share.
Hold on. I need to pull something up real quick.
I'm going to share our show.
That's fine. If you don't know what Police Squad is, do you even know what Police Squad is?
I know it's an old TV show. It was a series.
It was a series. It only got 6 episodes.
Oh, really? Why
yeah,
I feel like it was longer?
Well, and I'm going to explain to you why you think it was longer. Okay. Hold on. I'm trying to pull up something that shut down on me.
Shut down.
Okay. So the show was from 1982.
Okay.
So what happened was Leslie Nielsen and everybody, the team, they made this show. And from my understanding of the story, what is this playing? I didn't ask you to play something with Quibi. Get out of here. The show, basically, they wanted to do a movie. And they were like, no, we're not doing a movie. But let's do a TV series. They're like, okay.
Yeah.
So it's all half-hour TV shows. If you don't know anything about the show, it's about the police squad unit, and they're solving crimes. It's a pretty simple story. It's very much like Get Smart. But it's the spoof comedy, but it's more in the vein of like Airplane and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Most people know this whole idea from the Naked Gun movies. The Naked Gun movies came out of the fact that the series wasn't successful, which you may think, why would that spawn the movie? Because usually if it's not successful, why would you spend money on a movie to make it?
Right.
Well, part of the thing they were talking about, I was actually watching on this thing, there's an interview with Leslie Nielsen, who's now passed away. I believe he passed away, didn't he? I think so. Anyway, there's an interview on here and he talks about how the show, they were really happy with the way the show worked. The studio thought it was funny, everything. He goes, the problem was, and of course, this is kind of a dated ideal now because TV is such a big thing now.
Yeah.
But for the longest time, TV was kind of the low end of entertainment, right? Actors didn't want to go backwards from movie to TV. True. That meant you were falling on your careers.
Totally different now.
Yeah, but at the time he talked about, he's saying the problem with the show was it was too small. It was on a small TV screen. And for you to get this show, you have to pay attention. And you might think, well, why do you have to pay attention to a stupid show like that? Because if you're not paying attention, you miss the gags. You miss the jokes. You miss the funny. And if it's on a small screen, you may not see every little nuance and funny thing that's going on in the background and whatever else. And he said that it was such a hit with the studio and the people with Paramount because when they screened the episodes, it was on a big screen. And it hit. And then it failed with the audiences. So he's like, after 6 episodes, they told him they pulled it. Wasn't going to work. He was devastated. He was upset because they thought they had a really inventive new thing now. And then they came back to him eventually and said, you know, what about doing a movie? And he goes, hell yeah, let's do a movie. And then it went from an unsuccessful TV series of 6 episodes into 3 successful films. Because it was Naked Gun, 2.5, Naked Gun 33 and a third. And Leslie Nielsen reprised roles, all of them, which is funny because prior to a lot of this comedy, Leslie Nielsen was more of a serious actor. And so it kind of thought was, and then he ended up spending a lot of his life after Naked Gun making spoof movies. Surf Ninjas, Dracula Dead and Loving It, which still has one of my favorite scenes in all film history in it. But this film, what's funny about this show too, on every episode, they had reoccurring gags, right? One of them being at the beginning of every episode. It had two things at the beginning of every episode. It introduced everybody. It's like tonight's special guest, and it would show a celebrity. But right up there, when it introduced me, it killed them at that moment. They're not in the rest of the episode. So like it's like, you know, Robert Goulet, and he's standing there, but he's being tied up in a firing squad, and they shoot him and kill him, and so that was a running thing. And then it would say tonight's episode, and it would have, you know how those old shows would say the kiss of the Spider Woman or whatever. It would say tonight's episode. It would say it, but it was a different title on the screen than what they actually said. So that was so funny. And then the end of it was very 80s, because you know how like in a lot of the old 80s shows, they would always freeze frame it, like on the last slide, and everybody's like, and then the credits would roll. Mm-hmm. They did that every episode, but they didn't actually freeze it.
Oh, it was just that.
They froze.
That's so.
But everything around them didn't.
That's cool.
So the two guys would be like he's pouring him coffee, and he's like, and they're blinking. They're not even trying. They're still blinking, and the coffee's overflowing. People are walking past them. Like, well, there's one where they got a guy arrested, and they make a quick whip at him, and they all start laughing. They like, and they freeze. And the guy's like, so he starts undoing the handcuffs and stuff, and he runs away, and he's trying to get out. So it's an ongoing funny thing. But this set comes out from Paramount. It's already been released on Blu-ray. DVD before. But this is their new Blu-ray set. Just came out today. It has all 6 episodes, as well as a gag reel, which I've never seen of them. Which always, to me, in these kind of shows, it makes it even funnier seeing how they hold it together, or how they messed up or whatever. But the gag reel, it's got some interviews, different things about their props and whatever. So if you want to check it out. I don't think it's made up, but it's funny. He always says when it come out, it'd be like Police Squad in color, but it's from the 80s, so of course it's in color.
That's funny.
Anyway, but yeah, Police Squad. If you've never seen Police Squad, you didn't even know this existed. I didn't know this existed. I saw Naked Gun first, and I discovered this after. I didn't even know. So it's a great show. Funny. I rewatched the entire thing today. Funny stuff.
There you go. All right.
What else you got, sister?
Next, we're going to talk about a little Netflix special series that we watched. I was so excited, and I think we're late to the game on this. But
and we thought it was a movie.
Okay. I thought it was a movie, and
we didn't pay attention. We went to sit down to watch it.
Like, let's watch this movie. Got dinner ready.
Because we were watching it to talk about it on Sunday.
Yeah.
Didn't realize it was a miniseries type thing.
There you
like
go.
What, 4 episodes?
Yeah, it was really good.
6, whatever it was.
4.
What do we got?
This is called Self-Made, inspired by the life of Madam C.J. Walker. And I gotta tell you, I loved it.
It was really good.
Okay, it's Octavia Spencer. By the way, I love Octavia Spencer. She can do no wrong to me. And
except for the movie Ma.
Was it not?
It wasn't as good as it could have been. She's good in it, but the movie itself is in.
Yeah. Well, they put her with a bunch of dumb kids. No, I'm just
saying. It is, but they still had potential to be way better. But anyway, go
ahead. This has also Tiffany Haddish, who we'll talk about.
Which I didn't even know she was in this.
I didn't either. So we're going to talk about that. This Carmen Ejogo, I didn't know about her. He's good. Oh, and then Blair Underwood. You know, Blair Underwood is one of those people that all the ladies love. And I'm not a huge Blair Underwood fan. I'm a fan of, what's his name?
Denzel.
No.
Idris
and
Morris Chestnut. I should go through the list of the black men.
Is that the one that's in My Show Evil? Who's in My Show Evil?
No, you're thinking about Mike Coulter.
Oh, I like Mike Coulter too.
Morris Chestnut's the one that was in the other Doctor shows and Boys in the Hood.
And even the guy, the deodorant guy commercial.
She's got her plethora of ethnic men.
No, but you know what?
And then she's stuck with this.
You're my type. You're a man.
I'm white
with a scruffy beard.
I'm a white guy.
You got nice legs.
I'm a white guy that's all like frumpy and dumpy, and
you're a white guy with a scruffy beard and you got nice legs.
That's what you look for in a human?
And that's not skinny. You don't have skinny legs, because what the skinny legs do, you ladies? You need
ladies.
You need a man with some good looking legs.
Oh my God.
Nobody wants some skinny legs.
Hold on, how's it, ladies?
or men.
How does legs do anything for you?
Because just like, when we're watching Wakanda Forever, and both he and the other guy have skinny legs. Well, that don't do me no good if you're big and muscly up here, but you got skinny legs. How's that going to help me?
Well, if it makes you feel better, The Rock was posting a thing about his workout the other day, and he said somebody asked him what his favorite time of day, favorite workout is, and he said, well, technically all of them. He goes, but most importantly, he loved it. It was all leg stuff, and he goes, don't forget the leg exercises, men.
Yes, everybody's all up here with this
stuff.
That's
a notorious thing. Is a lot of bodybuilders
you need nice legs.
Forget the legs altogether.
Anyways. I just was laughing about the Blair Underwood because that was that other movie with Alfred Woody, and she was like, "Oh yeah, Blair Underwood." Ladies. Anyways, okay.
That might be one of the funniest things you've said about ladies.
Good, I'm glad. I don't even try to be funny. I just am. And this is why I should be a stand-up comedian.
No, that's exactly why you shouldn't. Here we go.
Anyway, so this movie is about a lady who basically creates her own hair care line for African American women, and it's a bunch of things. Like she has her own shampoos, and
it's most notable to understand that this movie takes place in
hair growth
oils. The 50s, 40s, the 30s.
This is in. I gotta go find out. Hold on. You're
going to scroll past every little thing. It takes place in the past.
It's in the past. It doesn't tell me.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Well, that's dumb.
It's in olden times.
In olden times.
We'll talk and say like what kids say. It was in olden times.
Back before there was internet.
Okay, go ahead.
Anyways, this was just interesting, inspiring. Sometimes it's heartbreaking. Sometimes you get mad at the man for trying to hold people down. But then we're even in the point where everyone's free. Yay, we're good. We're starting black businesses, entrepreneurs. But then the black men don't necessarily want to support black women having businesses because they're like, wait.
Well, in the defense of that, not in defense of it, but as a whole, no men were looking at women to do anything. Women were expected to take care of the family, be a wife, that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, and I think that's...
And women weren't helping the movement at the time either.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the women, and I'm not saying it was okay, but a lot of the women also were like, look, our place is this. Because you see it in the movie when she goes to talk to different people. There were women that had what she thought pull because they might be married to somebody of wealth or power or substance or whatever, and they would be like, no, I don't get in my husband's business because I'm a woman.
I'm a woman and I'm my place. But why do you have to know your place? So we're in a whole different thing here.
Well, it was in the 1800s, wasn't it?
No, it was 19. We're in the 1900s.
Well, since she died in 1919.
Oh.
All right. Well, maybe I guess it was. Why are we just sitting there reading this? 1888.
1906 is when she got married.
Let's say 1888 when she's done with all that stuff. So.
Well, maybe so. Turn of the century.
I didn't know it was that far. It didn't feel like it was that far back. But okay.
Maybe it was right 1900s. It's amazing what she was able to accomplish. First of all, as a woman. When women were not really in the business field. And then...
It says 1904 is when she became the thing to sell for Annie Malone.
And then being a black woman, entrepreneur, trying to start her own business, running a factory, being in charge of things. And it's so crazy because, at times there was always that thing where, she couldn't sign anything or do anything. Her husband had to be there, which is them. Well, it was her business.
It was kind of sparked conversations with us because not the race stuff, but the man-woman mentality. Because one of the things when we first got fixing to get married is she made more money than I did. And so I know, shocking turn of events because how's that possible? She's a lady. But she asked me one time, are you going to be bothered if I make more money than you? Because that's known. A lot of guys get all butthurt because I'm not a man enough because my wife makes more money or whatever. And I'm like, I don't give a two craps. I'll drive a minivan and take care of children if I have to, as long as I'm taken care of.
Well, and that was an issue with them. Like her husband couldn't handle it.
Because he was super supportive and he was trying to be there for her and he was fine with it until other men started looking at him and she unintentionally kind of belittled him because it was partially her fault.
Well,
but it's because she didn't realize she was doing it.
Well, and I think it was also a lack of communication because she, in her mind, was like, it's my business. In his mind, it was like our business. So there was never that conversation.
Yeah, and in reality, it should have been their business because they were doing, well, because he was right there doing it with her.
He was in charge of marketing and stuff.
And helping her do things and helping her build it. And I'm not saying that he deserved to own part of the business, but her mentality of it just being hers alone is what caused most of her problems.
Yeah.
Had she honestly allowed him to run the aspect of the company that she wanted to, it would have eliminated, I think, half of the problems that arose throughout the career.
Maybe.
Not to say that,
though, too.
Yeah, you never know for sure.
He seemed, well, the way he's portrayed in this series is that he was a little controlling. He had
but he wasn't at first.
A frail ego.
That was the thing, is he wasn't at first. It wasn't until that first time they were having a meeting and somebody went to say something to her. He tried to talk and she kind of belittled him in front of the other men. And then the men tried to talk directly to him and she basically cut him off like he was nothing and talked to him. That's what sparked that. Instead of them pulling each other aside. It should have been
a better partnership. Well, he's like, well, I'll let her tell you.
Well, yeah, at that point, it should have been a two-sided thing of him saying, look, you know how these men are? They're not going to listen to you right away. Let me help get you in the door and do this. And she should have been like, look, I really want to run this myself because I want women to be empowered and this, that. And it should have been a group effort to help each other strive and be better.
Because we've had to do that sometimes in different areas, and we're in, like, if it's going to be like in one of your things, then I become the background character. But if it's one of my things and it's like obviously a Spanish cultural thing, then that might be me talking.
I'm always the arm candy.
But I'm there. I still talk to you and then I talk to them. I mean, I try to involve you.
There have been times.
And then
But most of the things, there have been times that I've been shunned and ignored. The difference is I don't care. I don't take it personal. I'm like, whatever. She'll want me soon enough.
No, whatever.
She'll need me to open something and I'll just watch her struggle like a baby that she is.
Wow.
But no, there's a communication issue. And again, he wasn't a jerk initially about it either. It was the time period.
It was a time period.
And she had been through some crap. So that was part of the problem. She had been in a abusive relationship and refused to let a man tell her what to do.
Well, and I think also too, because at the beginning, her first marriage, they show the man treated her badly, but then also just kind of shunned her like, oh, what are you? Because of the way she looked and her hair.
Yeah.
Hair is a very important thing, which I don't know if this is men have the same thing as women.
Not to my knowledge.
But I mean, if your hair is jacked up, or if you're like a woman with baldness, or you have patchy hair, or a weird hairline thing, or a bald, I mean, you get very self-conscious, and a woman's hair is like her crown here. This is your jewel you got. And so
you must be depressed.
People are very particular. No, people want their hair. And if women spend so much money on their hair, like coloring, cutting, back when you were perming. And then if you have different textured hair, so if you're African American, you have a different whole texture, that's a whole other thing. And not everybody can work with that type of hair. And you have to have special products for it because you have to care for it differently. And so, she was just treated horrible because of the way she looked, and the hair gave her confidence. And so when her hair came back and it's all beautiful and luxurious, I mean, she was very confident. The other interesting aspect of this movie to me.
Y'all just experience what I experience on a daily basis.
The other interesting aspect, this also doesn't happen to white people perhaps, but in cultures where you have brown skins, the whole thing of being mixed race, or you're a lighter skinned person with good hair, or you're a dark skinned person and you don't have good hair. So that whole thing is brought up throughout this series as well.
What I'd like to say about this light skin thing is I do know that certain brown people that I'm aware of mock me because I'm not the tannest person in the world. So for me not to be judged by my skin color, a certain someone, I'm not saying anybody, but the person that's sitting directly next to me.
But you know what? It's so interesting. It's not just in the African American race. It's in Hispanic culture. I have found out it's also in Indian culture.
It's an Asian culture
too. It's an Asian culture. If you are a lighter colored skin,
there's an aspect of that. I think of
being better than being
there's
darker.
An aspect I think of that in every culture, just in a different way. Because I think even with the Caucasian culture,
like the blonde hairs,
it's not so much that. I think it's more about where you're from. So like, oh, if you're from the South, you're a country bumpkin and you're an idiot.
Yeah.
If you're from California, you're automatically a hippie jerk.
Yeah.
If you're from New York, you're an asshole. You're probably in the mob. And it's that mentality. Like we've talked about that before. Is like, and it's so ingrained. Like I probably have told the story here, but like when I was at a party at Beverly Hills once.
What?
And
look at you, fancy.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I remember this lady ran into me and spilled her drink, and I immediately asked if she was okay. I picked her drink up and I'm like, "Do you want me to get you another drink?" Her first words out of her mouth weren't "excuse me" anything. Is she said, "You're not from California, are you?"
No.
And I was like, "No, ma'am."
Oh.
And she goes, "You're from the South, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yes, ma'am." I said, "But I also have manners." She goes, "That's why I know you're not from California."
Exactly.
So, and she's from California. So even the people there know their own stereotype.
Yeah.
You know, and so there's different elements. Now the skin stuff obviously is a bigger thing, way bigger than the stupid thing I'm talking about.
No, but you know what's interesting though? I was talking with one of my friends. I'm like, okay, let's pretend that actual racism based on the color of your skin, whatever the pigmentation is, was gone. Would racism end? And be like, no, there would be something else. It would
be how many
money,
teeth you had,
tall, fat. Yeah, it would be that. It would be no. I'm from the north. You're from the south. It would be like left, right. It would be something else.
There's been so many people, that I see postings about, like for instance, because we're in the Texas area.
Go Texas! Woo!
Whataburger being the big thing was a big thing here, right? And so as soon as it got okay, well, hold on, calm down.
I want some tater tots.
Tons of fun.
I gotta lose weight, but I want tater tots.
They have tater tots.
Well, we'll go drive across the street to Sonic. They got tater tots.
We're in training
with some chili and cheese.
We're in training,
and then I'll work out after.
Anyway, have y'all noticed that we've lost some weight?
I am stuck at I need to lose 4 pounds. I am stuck. And I think it's been being at home where I have access to more snacks. Because when I go to work,
also have access to a full gym in our home.
I know, but when I go to work, I don't.
You were bigger when you were at work.
No, but I've lost weight being at work. But I think being at home, I've gotten to.
No, honey, I hate to tell you this. You've lost weight because I've been meal prepping our food.
I know,
and I've been making you work out.
And right now here, it's so easy to just order delivery because everybody's delivering.
No, don't blame being home.
I'm blaming
because I'm home all the time.
And our plethora of food and no toilet paper.
I'm home all the time. We have plenty of toilet paper. I'm at home all the time, and I eat the same stuff. I
know, but I think I have too many snacks.
I was trying to compliment us, and you turned us into this whole thing.
Today, I had a peanut butter jelly sandwich for snack.
Okay. Anyway,
that would normally.
You made me totally forget what I was saying because you went off and talking about the way people blame things and change it up.
Blame game.
Because it's like there's so many people that post things about, oh my God, they're trying to turn us into California. Like they blame a whole state because of their perception of what California is.
California is not bad.
I mean, it depends, but there's the same bad stuff is in every state, every place in some way. Like there's no place that's perfect.
Everywhere.
Except right here in Blakey Manor.
Blakey Manor is very nice and comfortable. It's calm. There's food. There's toilet paper. What I don't have are enough tissues because I have the worst allergies in the world. I don't have corona. I have allergies.
That's the worst part of being in Texas. And I'm sure many other places, but Texas, we got really bad allergies here. So
we were walking and he sneezed. I'm like, they're going to think you have corona.
Having allergies and having the coronavirus hit us during the allergy season is the worst.
Right now, I'm not supposed to touch my face, but my face itches so bad.
Well, that's because you don't bathe. All right, moving on.
Next.
So what's it? Self-Made is now on Netflix. Check it out.
Watch it.
It's a great show. I know we went off on a complete tangent on that show.
But it was a good show.
And it's really one of those that I think you should watch. We don't want to tell you everything about it because then
you need to watch
experience it. Let the history unfold. All right.
All right, next.
Well, we jumped in onto a show we already watched, but the new season hit episodes again on Netflix called Kim's Grocery. Is that what it's called? Kim's Convenience. Kim's Convenience.
Kim's Convenience.
Season 4, I believe. If you've never seen it, it's a funny little show. It's not like slapstick comedy, but it's got some drama and some comedy and
it's really good. I love it. So it's basically about a Korean American family that have a convenience store.
And I think it was a stage play or something.
Was it?
I believe it was first before because it's a Canadian produced show, I believe.
There it is.
And I believe it was a stage production first.
That makes so much sense.
And then got developed as a series. And I think the people in the show, or at least some of them, were in the stage play too.
Oh, that's so cool.
I believe. I could be wrong, but I want to say that at least the the mom and dad, I think, were in the show, the stage play.
I'll have to go find out. Anyways, I love this. So it's about this family. They got their convenience store, and it uses some of kind of the old school comedy gags of the Native American or language, like, you know, a typical English language, and the funny things that don't translate correctly, which is like what happens in my family. So anybody who has parents from another country, you're going to get it. And then just funny things, and then cultural things that are funny. I
like that it sticks to the old mentality of the misunderstandings a lot.
It's so funniest.
Like they're trying to do one thing, so they're trying to distract somebody to do something else, which turns into something else.
That's what I'm saying. And
so it's very much like an episode of Three's Company sometimes.
Understanding English, it's so it's hilarious to me.
But it also has a sense of realism to the family life, because you have the married couple who've been together for so long, and with their culture, you know, they're not super lovey-dovey. You know, then you have the like when the daughter, who's a photographer, I believe, she wants them to come to shows. They're always like, ugh.
They're like, no.
It's the real feeling we all have when you want.
The mom is like, no, I went to show last year.
Like
she's like, no, but there's a new show.
But it's all like, no, and it's all the stuff you want to say to your children. You know, when because you know, most of us at some point, you don't want to go to another basketball, you don't want to go to another play. You know, we do it because we love our children and we enjoy it when we're there seeing it, but we don't want to go most of the time.
I'm going to be honest. I did not like going to all those soccer games with Mackenzie. And then lining up afterwards and doing this thing. Like,
you didn't do that?
No, because I did one time.
Why were you doing it? It was supposed to be the team doing it.
No, because they were like, come on, parents. I think it was like the last game. No. I don't even know.
Well, you weren't there for any of the drill team stuff.
Oh, thank goodness. No, but I went to all the football things for Daniel. Not all of them, but some of them.
With the drill team stuff.
Lord, that's the worst thing. Hauling all these things. You did it. I just showed up.
Well, you want an even worse experience? It's not really worse, but with drill team, you know, which is connected to the
football games.
I know, but it's connected to the cheerleaders and everything kind of together. Well, a lot of them knew me from being Kenzie's dad, obviously, but they also knew I did martial arts. So it became, they found out that Mackenzie made a statement that I could do the jumping splits. And so now they had me out there a lot of games, not necessarily, I think once maybe with the actual performance, but after the games when they were all hanging out and cheering. They would always do this thing at the end of the games where the football players would sit down and all the cheerleaders would do a cheer for the football players. Like,
you're right.
Good job, I guess. I don't know. It seemed kind of sexist to me, but like praise the men. That's what I felt like.
Yeah.
But they would get me up there jumping splits and stuff at football games. Like,
nice.
Come on, man. Anyway, Kim's Convenience.
Yeah, so you're correct. The guy that wrote it, it's based on his own life from a Korean family moving to Toronto, and it did start off as a play in 2005 at the Toronto Theatre Company, dedicated exclusively to like Asian Canadian stories. Right. So that's where the idea came from, and it is hilarious.
It is. It's really funny.
And I love that even though they're Korean, but to me, like just the things they do reminds me sometimes of my family or my dad, like just the weird things that they don't get, or it just doesn't translate from their country to the Americas. It's just the parents. Yes.
Yeah, the rest of the kids and their friends and the friends of the friends and all these other characters, they're all Americanized. They were either born here or they've been here so long that they're essentially American people. Whereas the
Canadian,
parents,
Canadian. In the Americas.
Yeah, but the parents, although being Americans now or Canadians now, they still are stuck in a lot of the confusing about everything. They don't, and they're older, so they have two strikes against them. They have cultural difference, and they have the age of not understanding technologies and styles and musics and all this stuff, which makes and adds stacks and stacks of layers of funny on there.
Yeah, and it's so funny. I like that on the cast list, their cast is listed as Appa and Uma. I'm like, it's like dad and mom, like that's their name. It's so funny. And that's so funny because that's what dad is in Spanish, is Appa. And mom is, mom, but mama. But
I thought it was madre.
That depends on it. But Appa is a name. So it's funny. I'm like, that's the same thing as what we would call our parents. But I just like it. And the funny one to me was the couple of seasons back when their cousin from Korea came, and she's very K-pop-ish.
Yes.
And very like,
they were all confused by her.
Yes, and they were like, this is just too much. And she's like, yeah.
I think my favorite character is the same character that annoys me the most in the whole show? Who do you think it is?
This girl.
Yes, the boss at the car rental shop, because she's so dumb.
Yes.
But not in like a stupid way. It's like she's kind of naive and she tries to fit in and she never does. So she's always awkward.
She's legitimately like a bumblehead.
Yeah.
She's just like this.
She's so good at the part too.
She is.
I'd like to believe that she's not really like that, but
no.
She's so good at the part.
She's just funny.
The guy that plays the son, what's his name? The main guy. What's his name? I can't say it. I want to make sure I say his name right.
Hold on, let's go back.
Come on, what are you doing, woman?
I was looking for him.
For people that don't know, I'm going to tell you. Sam Liu. Yeah, click on his name. If you haven't watched Kim's Convenience and you don't know the cast or whatever, you're about to know who he is, because he has been cast as Shang-Chi in Master of Kung Fu in the new Marvel movie.
He's going to be big.
He's going to be he's the next big, or one of the next big Marvel.
Oh, look at this. He's got all his muscles like boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, he's one of the next big Marvel guys.
Hard. He's so fun.
So, and it was funny is when the coronavirus and all this stuff shut down, or April Fool's happened, or whatever it was, he posted like, I hate to announce the fact that there's been some creative differences on Shang-Chi, and I'm no longer, and then he just paused and put down and he goes, who am I kidding? Greatest job I've ever received.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see him. I don't know what his martial arts background is, but I'm excited to see him in the role.
I like his crazy best friend, Kimchi, which is like your typical, like, kind of like just bumming around best friend who just does the bare minimum to get by. But I love him because he's the best friend that shows up and is like perfectly well behaved for your parents.
Yeah,
like, oh,
and his parents love him.
Yes. So fun.
That was me everywhere with all my friends.
Y'all need to watch Kim's Convenience if you have.
My best friend's mom and dad loved me.
Yeah.
They didn't know I was a crazy person.
So
they still love me.
It's awesome.
All right. Last one I guess we'll talk about. Do you want to keep going with some other stuff?
No, I'm good. We watched a special.
I don't think we're talking about the same thing.
Are you talking about this?
No, I'm talking about something else. So we'll talk about that in a minute.
Oh, okay.
No, another show we watched and we binge watched the whole thing. Ironically, is also Netflix.
Oh,
it's called The Big Show Show.
The Big Show Show,
which is the wrestler Paul White, aka The Big Show, from WWE, WCW, TNA. I believe he was on briefly, or ECW.
I forgot we watched that whole show.
It is a sitcom. It is a scripted
sitcom
of him playing himself. He's retired, like he is in real life. He's retired. I believe he's retired in real life. He retired, and he's from WWE, and now he stays home, and he's kind of trying to find his way. And it's about him and his wife and his kids. And he got 2 kids with his current wife, and then the show's about his previous marriage daughter from his previous marriage.
First daughter, yeah.
And she's come to live with the whole family. So now they're all together in this house. And it's also got Jaleel White in it, Urkel, grown up, as his good friend. And then the rest of the cast are relative unknowns, which I like.
That's great. I love it.
So I wasn't sure if you'd even be interested in watching. I tried to watch the first episode at like 3 in the morning, and I fell asleep. And I was like, this show's kind of funny. So I threw it out at her as I was passing it, because I figured you were like, I'm not watching that. And you're like, hey, let's watch it. And then she goes, let's watch it again. Let's watch it again. And we ended up watching it.
It is hilarious because he is ginormous. He is 7 feet tall, like for real. And everybody
like for real
7 feet tall. And so it's so funny when you watch the show because he's like up here and his wife is like normal size, just talking to him.
She's not normal size. She's small.
Is she?
Yeah, she's like probably, I doubt it. She may be like the size of our friend Nitty.
I was hoping she was,
because a lot of times she was in heels and she was still small.
Well, and there's one episode where they're having to talk. She steps on the stool to like talk, like, look, listen to me. So, man, it's hilarious to me.
I like that. It's the funniest part of it to me is that they constantly play up his size.
Yes.
Like he's in on a joke. And it's not making fun of how big he is, making fun of how he doesn't fit places or how strong he is. And it's over the top, things like somebody surprises him and he actually pulls a door off the hinge, or he rips a park bench off the ground because they don't like something. And it's never out of like crazed anger or whatever.
No, he's super nice and sweet.
And there's one whole episode where he's trying to help out and everything he does breaks something else because he's so big. But they also play that up with the kids. So like he wants to do like a belly bump with his daughter. She's a little tiny one, so he picks her up and he's like, oh, puts her down. And so they're all in. It was really entertaining.
But it's also funny because even though he's like this ginormous guy, he's in a house full of women, and so these women just run over him. Yeah. Yes, it's so funny. He's actually really funny. I didn't know he would be that person.
Well, he's done some different movies before, and he was never great in them, but he did okay. So I had faith that he could probably do the acting part. This is
pretty easy.
I think it makes it better for him that he's getting to play himself, so he doesn't have to try to step too far out of it. But he's pretty good with some of the emotion and the jokes and the mannerisms.
There was one where he was like crying, and I was like, I'm gonna cry.
Yeah.
No, and then the funny thing to me too is like all the furniture on the set is big.
Everything is like, designed the way you would think it'd be at his house.
Yeah, the chairs are taller than normal. Like the
stairs are even wider looking.
Yeah,
it appears. And I don't know why, because he's not wide. He's just big up top.
But he's big because if you know, well, and like his knees are jacked up.
Yeah, because they kind of fold in.
And if you notice, like on the front, when he goes to the front door, the steps are normal, and it looks like it's a struggle for him to do little baby steps.
Yeah.
So that's probably why the stairs are big. I don't know. It's hilarious. You should.
Well, I know he had the tumor removed that caused his gigantism.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because him and I forgot who the other was.
They
have some kind of thing that caused that growing up, and then he had it, and after he had it removed, it caused him to gain like 100 pounds. But he's dropped up. He's gotten a significant lower weight now.
Okay.
If you look at him in that thing,
because they said he was like 400 pounds.
Yeah, if you look at him,
I don't even know how that's possible.
Yeah, but that's actually in conjunction with how big he is not that much weight. It is, but being 7 foot tall and 400 pounds, The Rock is 275 pounds, and he's like 6'4".
Yeah, but he's
so. Like, I know, but I'm just talking about the weight of what your body's carrying. Yeah. That doesn't make it easier on your knees or anything else, but and we're almost the same age.
He's just big.
Anyway, but there's also running jokes for wrestling fans outside of just being. So you can see how big he is in the comparison.
Oh yeah, look, he's lost some weight here. Gotten slimmed up, some muscles.
But yeah, he it's funny because he they make constant jokes about wrestling as well.
Yeah.
So like if you think it's going to be one of these things where it's not really connected to the wrestling world, it's fully connected because
he's just him.
Yeah, he's him. But there's even some cameos of some wrestlers at some episodes. There's running like the first episode. It made me laugh when he's trying to work on figuring out how to braid his daughter's hair, and he goes, I used to braid Mick Foley's hair, and he loved it. And his daughter's like, stop comparing me to Mick Foley. And so he takes these little jabs across the line of different wrestlers, and there's a great use of some wrestlers in one episode that I thought was pretty clever.
It was fun. So it's a fun show. You should watch it. I'm sure one of our friends, does he know that show's on?
Which one?
Our wrestling friends. You know they've watched
Urban Legends?
Yes.
I don't know. I'll ask him. I'm sure they know.
It's so fun. You should.
And it was. I think it was ranked when I looked at it. I think it said it was like one of the top 3 or 4 shows on Netflix right now. So hopefully that means we're gonna get another one. Hopefully we get another season of Fluffy too.
Oh, I hope so.
That show was funny too.
I miss Fluffy.
All right. So what was the one you wanted to talk about,
Did we talk about? Did we talk about, since you mentioned Fluffy, it's reminding me of my Latin shows. Did we talk about One Day at a Time coming back?
I think I mentioned it coming back.
It's back, and it's on Pop TV. Episodes drop weekly. You can watch.
I tried watching some of this with her.
I think the previous shows are still on Netflix, or did they? No, they all transferred them all over to Pop.
I didn't like it.
And really, and on the first episode of the season, they're like, "Oh, who needs Netflix?" So I think everything's been transferred over to Pop TV. But you should check it out. I like it. What's her name is in it? The daughter from the one that's the Mamas and the Papas kid. What's her name? Mackenzie
Phillips?
Yeah. She's in it.
I never saw her.
She shows up like every other episode, and she's a recurring character.
Here's my problem is I'm not one that's against remakes or reimaginings, because this is a reimagining in the Hispanic community kind of thing, which I'd be okay with, but like the Schneider aspect in it is just horrible.
Yeah, Mackenzie Phillips is in it. Yeah. It's just a different take. It's a completely different take on the story.
They should have just called it something different.
Schneider doesn't show up with his cigarette.
I don't expect that, but just the guy. You obviously the time period you make one show and the time period, like Hawaii Five-0. They couldn't make the same Hawaii Five-0 now, but they found their niche to do it. This new one just feels like, why call it One Day at a Time? Why not just call it something else?
Because it's a story of this lady with her 2 kids on her own.
Okay.
And
but you could call it a nurse.
And the guy is the building guy.
Okay, they could have called it anything else because it doesn't feel anything. I don't like shows or movies when they remake it and they just take the name and they make something completely different.
I guess.
Because then to me, it just feels like we already knew the show would fail, so we're going to steal this name, so hopefully nostalgia people will watch it.
I did.
I know you didn't, but
the first 3
they captured you because of the Hispanic side.
They did. The first 3 episodes, the first 3 seasons are on Netflix. The new season is on Pop TV. There you go. I like it. You need to watch it. Don't care what Bobby Blakey says.
Until I agree with you?
Yes. Okay. You're going to watch it and love it.
You might not.
All right. Last thing.
Did you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So we watched, there was a Netflix special about Tiger King.
It was announced when is it Jeff Lowe? Is that his name?
Maybe.
I think that's the guy's name. I always forget. Anyway, I think it's Jeff Lowe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jeff Lowe in an interview had mentioned there was going to be a brand new episode they were shooting new stuff for. So everybody's like, "What is this episode?" Well, it ends up being a quarantined interview. Where are they now? Special with host Joel McHale.
And then there's another special thing on the
that was
network.
It was a TMZ special.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that.
I don't know what TV channel was it on ABC?
I think so. But I don't know about TMZ, man. But,
well, there was an investigative reporter piece.
Okay. Well, this was a special where look back and where are they now?
Yeah, so they had like six or seven of the people on there, and they was shot during the quarantine thing. So they basically are their video feed.
He's like, I'm Joel McHale. This is my couch. This is the Tiger King special.
And it was pretty funny, and like he tried to keep them going because a lot of these guys, I hate to say it, but a lot of these guys interviewing are not overly.
Well, they're not celebrities.
They're not celebrities, but they're not overly interesting people.
Yeah.
And they're interesting with their stories, but you can tell they're not all of them are comfortable being on camera and talking, and so he tries hard to make it work, and some of it's painful to watch.
Yeah.
Just watching them kind of hustle, and he takes some jabs and some jokes, and some of them don't laugh, and I thought they were hilarious, but.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. It was a revisit with everyone. I mean, first we got this guy who I thought was his friend.
He was, but I think, I think he said, well, I don't want to give away. If it's basically, if you go watch, you get to hear some of it. If you've seen some of the other interviews, they tell some of the same stories. But it's not only a where are they now, how things are going for them now. They talk about their real feelings for Joe.
Mm-hmm. Like you get like somebody's like, oh, I hope he dies there. You know, that's where we're at in the story.
I think there was only one person in the whole thing that were like, seemed like they still cared about him.
Yeah.
But at the same time.
Not that they're overly in love with him, but they're like, oh, that's too bad.
But they also agree that he probably deserved to be in jail.
Yeah, because I mean, now everybody's really speaking out about how he really did kind of mistreat some of the animals and what happened to them.
Now, somebody else even said, to be clear, all of these people are crazy.
Yeah, like, they're all the same.
All the different people that run. Somebody asked
Sanctuary.
Carol's Sanctuary, is it better run than Joe's? And they're like, no, all of them are crap.
It's all the same thing.
You know, so
who knows?
But we're gonna watch the TMZ one tonight.
And then we got to see what's his name with his teeth in. One of the husbands.
Ex-husband.
Yeah. And then he did ask him, I like that Joel McHale asked him, well, why did you do all the interview with his shirt off? He's like, well, I had all these tattoos. Why not?
Well, he said it in a different interview.
Okay.
I was hoping he would say it on this, but I don't think he did. But I saw him in another interview. They asked him about it. And he said it was really weird. The producers asked him, why don't you do it with your shirt off? And he's just like, okay. And it was like the other guy they shot. I don't know if you heard it during this thing. He was talking to Jeff about, that guy, that ex-con that he hired to work at the zoo. Yeah. They asked why they shot him in the bathtub. Because remember, there was a lot of scenes with him lounging in the bathtub, and then them doing the interview like that, and he goes, I don't know. Clearly, that was the producers of the show of trying to get wacky footage to make them look even crazier than they already were.
I mean, they already did look cray-cray. Who knows? And then
all these people clearly are like.
He did ask every single person, if they make a movie, who do you want to play you?
I think they all had some good choices of who they decided.
They did pick on some good ones.
And there'll be a movie made of this somehow.
I mean, the one guy, it's not a lady, it's a dude. She identifies as a man. Where she picked that one, he picked that one guy and it looked just like him, whoever it was. So anyways, it's interesting. If you want to watch it, it's a Netflix special. It's on there right now.
It's like 30 minutes. It's a little quick throwaway. So it doesn't really add a whole lot to the other series if you've seen it, but it does give you some more fuel for all of this and how everybody, it's really a kind of an anti-Joe.
I feel like he also asked everybody if he thinks Carol did it.
He did. And every single one of them said yes. So it's not anti-Joe for the special just against Joe.
No.
It's just they all kind of said the truth about it. It's not really seen in the documentary on the standpoint of some of them that defended him and this and that. They talk about how he killed this person, he did this, and what he did. And
asking them how they feel they were portrayed because, they didn't see the final cut. They all watched it on Netflix with the rest of us.
Some of them haven't even seen it.
Yeah, and some, one person's like, oh, I got up at 5 a.m. to make sure I saw it before anyone else.
They were preparing for the memes and everything.
Well, and, they've all said that now they get recognized. Just trying to go to the store is difficult. It's changed their lives. Better or worse, it has changed all of their lives. Yeah. So it's interesting.
I didn't know that director guy helped start Inside Edition.
Yeah.
So I was baffled about that.
He was a real deal. So it's interesting.
And now lives in Switzerland or something.
Yeah.
Norway.
But they even know him in Norway. They found out. So
anyway,
we're going to be watching the TMZ special. We'll get back to you on next week's TV Tuesday.
Cool. I guess that's going to be it today, doesn't it?
We had a lot to talk about. Who knew? All right.
So we did a longer episode than normal.
That makes up for the times when I show up ill prepared.
Every time?
Every time.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of TV Tuesday exclusively on the YouTube. Make sure you check out our website, HollywoodMatrimony.com, and we will see you back here on Sunday.
It'll be Tuesday for this show. But Sunday, we will be back for a new episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live.
That's what you need to do.
If things work out as like we're already been planning on our daily walk today, we may have all kinds of things to talk about, but we'll figure out something either way. And then next week, we'll be back for another episode of Martial Arts Movie Monday, which in theory, depending on the plan, I need to double check it, but this might finally be our recap, going back into Ip Man again, because she hasn't seen Ip Man 4.
I need to watch 4.
I already did a special on Ip Man, but I think it didn't include 4. So we'll probably go back and let you give your take on the Ip Man world, and then we'll talk about that. So it'll probably be a later episode because she does have to go break out into the world of disease and go to the office on Mondays. Yeah. And then we'll be back here on Tuesday for an all-new episode of TV Tuesdays.
There you go. Thank you so much for watching.
Peace out. Love you. Stay in the house. Protect your toilet paper. And above all else, cover your mouth when you cough. Later.